And hello to everyone watching the recording instead of live. It's time for a Monday market analysis, a bit later than usual. So we have a lot to cover, and the market is doing some interesting things on all levels. So let's dive into it. Quickly starting with the calendar as usual. No real market movers in my opinion. PMIs, I don't think that's coming. What could be interesting is Wednesday, the Powell testimony would be, it could be an opportunity for him to announce some changes in the policy because of the whole geopolitical situation. Don't expect him to, but you don't know how much pressure he's getting from all over to take it a bit more easy on the returning back to normal money printing levels. So interesting time to definitely keep an eye open. Also, we got another one on Thursday, another testimony. So definitely two things to keep in mind. For the rest, I don't see any big items here. The news sites are, the sanctions, the geopolitical tensions, stock markets falling, and very interesting crypto moving up, at least Bitcoin. So we will take a look at that in detail, obviously, in a bit. So too much happening to really pick one thing out that could be the market mover, but there are several ways this whole thing could play out for Bitcoin, really. Quickly on that topic, there's both very good publicity at the moment and very bad publicity for Bitcoin. On the one hand, people can now directly personally donate to a country on the siege. They can donate crypto to Ukrainian military and resistance. There's already, I think, more than $4 million of worth of Bitcoin and crypto being donated there. You also see stories of people being able to leave the country without having to stand in line for hours for the ATMs to get some cash to be able to get anywhere and to live from, because those people had Bitcoin and they didn't have to do anything with it. They could just go over the border, find their computer with internet and access their wealth, their money. So that's very good publicity for Bitcoin. Bad thing is obviously the sanctions on Russia are very high. Really already rumors going on that Putin and rich Russians are buying a lot of Bitcoin. Well, they probably already had in the past. And Bitcoins are not sanctionable, if that's even a word. And also Binance has released a press statement that they will not block the accounts of Russian customers. So on one side, they're getting a lot of criticism on that. On the other side, I can understand because it's pretty much against the philosophy of crypto. It is designed to be free from any government interference, either you like that or not. So several sides to this story. If it gets proven that Russia is using Bitcoin to evade sanctions, obviously some governments could regulate and do some crazy things to try to do anything about it, which I doubt, because also obviously a lot of the powerful people in the Western world, in the US, are in Bitcoin. So it's hard to predict which way that pendulum will swing for crypto. Not gonna stick around too much on the news. What is interesting is European stock markets were quite red. US stock markets are quite red. Oil is pretty much in the green. Natural gas is having a bit of a pullback, but it's only logical after such a run like that. Precious metals are up, with silver really being very nice there. So let's move into some fundamental charts. Not that one, we go back to that. Let's start with the US dollar index. Like I said a few days ago in the live stream, we did make a higher high, but you're getting a very steep push down. Don't think this will get any continuation. And so far, Friday, it did drop back again. And today it was pushing it, but it didn't even reach the previous level. So I think a retest of this support level would be logical. The next logical move, and then either test the bottom of the zone with the ascending support line here. There's a bit of a support there. It's not matured pattern, but it could turn into something like this, where we have the triangle shape breakout somewhere over there. So recent developments have pushed the dollar up, but it seems to be failing to really make a substantial leg up for the moment. Stock markets, really nasty, really. We just continue this move. You see, we didn't even make the downsloping resistance there. Only the Nasdaq, well, we have to probably redraw this a bit. Yeah, same story. It did reach the resistance, but didn't break it. Dow Jones didn't even come close. SP 500 didn't really do anything either. So stock markets look in a solid downtrend for the moment. But if you look at this, you had a huge gap down and you ended the day in the green, then the next day you went above it. So very nice reaction here, but it's not getting the follow-up price action that you would like to see. You would have liked to see a break from this resistance and then a potential bounce. So far, it's failing that. So stock markets still looks bearish, really bad. Obviously, if the Fed steps up and cuts down on their quantitative easing plans and the rate hikes, that if they come out with something like that, obviously that will push prices instantly much higher. Don't expect them to, but you never know how that swings. Gold still looking pretty good. Obviously, we had that rejection here, and we gapped up today and then had a bit of a correction, but we're still pretty much back testing the top, this previous swing high of 15 November. We're still managing to stay above it. Even testing this descending now support, previous resistance as now support would be nice entry level here. On a bit shorter time frame, as long as we stay, there's a weekly chart, keep in mind. Long term still looks bullish. Medium term looks okay. Short term, a bit of a retrace, probably to 1877, 75, and maybe even 1850-ish. But on long term, pretty strong looking asset. And this huge cup and handle is definitely still in play. It will get interesting if we break 2K, because those are some bearish harmonic entries, and it is pretty strong resistance from these areas here. Breaking 2K is the magic line in the sand for gold, in my opinion. What I started the stream with, my scribbling of 28th of January, when I think I said something like, we all know how markets like this behave. So we did a downtrend, we have a solid run, we are getting a run up. We'll probably hit these previous levels that have been very solid. We will make a double bottom, and the top was missed by 3%. We overshot it by 3%. The bottom here, I was 0.23% off. So sorry about that. I will try to be a bit more accurate. And it got there 13 days sooner than my quick drawing. Obviously, it's not about exact timing, but more like the general rough price levels. So don't value these numbers too much, but I think it's just funny how a very quick freehand brush drawing is being respected that much. So let's just all hope that this continues to play out. It will probably mean hitting 56K, getting a bit of a pullback to confirm 50K-ish, retest all-time highs, break it and get rejected pretty steeply. And then everybody will probably panic here in the summer period, somewhere in the summer period, and maybe this will be after the summer period, or anyway, obviously the farther away, the less accurate the timing will be. So this is probably the summer period where we will see a bit of a holiday sell-off before reaching the upper part of this channel. So hopefully that goes the way I drew it. Btc Dominance took a nice leg up today. It's hitting that resistance. If Bitcoin holds its line and goes sideways, you will see Dominance dropping quite a bit and the alts go on a nice run. Because this seems like a great level for a bit of a small alt season. Not really a season, but at least a few days of nice alt action. Ethereum to BTC, it's still, if we just, I can't really make the zone that I want if it's not horizontal. But if I draw it like this, you will probably get the idea. The bottom is a bit of a zone. Could probably anchor it here. And the top is obviously also a zone. So this is like the resistance zone at the moment. We are bouncing in the support zone. And because of the Bitcoin dominance going up, the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is going down a bit. Let's see if we can get another leg up to these levels, because that would be a nice, come on, trading view. Would be a nice 17% in Ethereum, and probably most alts will join in on that fun. So there is some potential in this. We did make a slightly higher high, but it all depends if this low will be slightly higher than this low. Then we wait for the bounce on that. It's finally starting to be something worth looking at again. Long and short positions, the shorts are getting killed, obviously. The longs have not really started to move up substantially after this pump, so be a bit cautious on that. Let the shorts be destroyed first. Total market cap making a nice higher low, pretty much like Bitcoin having a pump here. We just expand this a bit to the right. You see On the total market cap, we are just trying to break out of that resistance, support resistance zone here. Obviously, the level to break is that 2.1 something trillion, this previous peak. This we need to break to say with a bit of confidence that we are in a midterm uptrend. And if you go short term, you will see the same thing. Bitcoin is a bit leading at the moment. We need to break this line with a bit of volume, and hopefully we can go confirmation to get some small lower time frame uptrend. For the medium time frame, we need to break above the 1.12-ish trillion. Starting to look like this. We got some huge harmonic entries here that just got confirmed with a type 2 return, I think, double bottom confirmation with a slightly higher low, with a nice wick there. So it could be getting somewhere, but we need to break this trend line on total market cap. Quickly looking at some Bitcoin high time frame charts then. We are in the trend strength ribbon. Just got a bit of, didn't even make it completely to the top. So this one on the daily time frame is still in the red zone. It didn't flip to neutral or green yet. Obviously, need quite substantially, probably breaking 46K before this will flip. The daily heartbeats, we haven't reached oversold yet. So could something like this be in play? Potentially, yes. So that would mean maybe 7-8% more downwards. Could be, it doesn't look at like this at the moment, because you see the heartbeat line is also making a bit higher lows, and in this period of time we were getting lower lows. So there's definitely a difference there. So that's nothing of very much interest here. This one though is very interesting. This is the beginning of the halving. You see that on the daily chart we completed a whole Elliott wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you got your ABC retrace, and that level is now confirmed with a double bottom higher low. So in the Elliott wave theory, we could be up for the next, that phase has been completed. Elliott wave could start with the new wave, and previous first leg up was 119% in 140-ish days. So I wouldn't mind that. And to the 0.3 of the wave, the top was 600%, and that took almost a year. How much is it to the red zone? 300%-ish. That would be very awesome. So on the daily chart, based on Elliott wave theory, we should be in for a ride up. But I'm not the biggest fan of Elliott waves, but on these time frames, if it matches all the parameters, then it's just another potentially high time frame confirmation that could play out. Interesting, if we go to the 3.68, based on the previous cycles, if you want to know the details how this is drawn, it's in the trading course from a few weeks ago. Essentially looking at the 618 and the 1.41 FIP extensions and retrace of previous cycles. but you extrapolate to the next cycle, and then we pretty much at the bear market bottom, if you follow this theory, like this, from the lowest point of the cycle to the highest point of the cycle, so the bottom to the top. Then you take the 0.618, that is probably around the bottom of the next cycle, etc. And so far we wicked through it, slightly below it, but we never really went below it, and that level seems to be holding. Interesting playgrounds there. So slowly crawling my way back to lower time frames. We had a very nice pump, obviously, today. Really amazing, considering that the stock markets have going down. So it could be some signs of decoupling from the stock markets, which would be very, very, very good. A very strong sign from Bitcoin. But don't want to ruin the party. If you take a look at that yellow trend line, that's from that peak, just cutting off this little wick here, perfectly follows, and we hit it exactly. We hit this very important resistance zone. It comes all the way back from February 21 and May 21 and July 21 and September, etc., etc., and also the December dump. So it's a very major level between the 40K and 43K. We are just touching that resistance zone with this descending trend line, and to go into a midterm uptrend, you really need to break above this to go into a short-term uptrend, sorry. So short-term, for the short-term uptrend, we probably really need to break that 41,500-ish. For the short-term trend to be broken, we need to break probably 44,750-ish for a midterm uptrend, and then if that happens, we will are pretty close with, say, 46K-ish to make a higher high on the daily to go for a longer term uptrend. So a lot of work to be done for Bitcoin. We also have an ascending support line here with some nice fib action. So we're not out of the woods yet, but considering the whole macroeconomics and the stock markets going down, this is already a pretty good show of strength from Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. Just keep in mind the macroeconomical narrative when it comes to Bitcoin, as explained in the start of this Zoom, because if it's really at the do or die level between these zones. So don't get too euphoric on this 8%-ish pump. What was 8%-ish? Yeah, almost. We need to break this line, confirm it, and mainly break out of this whole zone, make higher highs. So there's a lot of work to be done before we can have a late night Zoom party. So we need like 12% more upside before we can pop the champagne and say we are definitely reversing and we are in a high time frame uptrend again. I'm all in for that, but as you know, we are not the ones controlling this market. Quickly looking at Harmonics and Divergences, no really big things happening there at the moment. TD sequentials on the 12-hour, we got a perfect 9. Let's look at that. That could be a reversal area starting sideways reversal. How accurate was the count on this one? We got an imperfect 8-9 going sideways here. We got a perfect 8-9 definitely reversed. We got an imperfect 8 small retrace sideways, imperfect and reverse, a perfect 8 reverse, an 8-9 imperfect sideways, perfect 8 here sideways. So the 12-hour does seem to be significant here. 8-9 small, pretty much sideways, but still enough to trade. An imperfect 8, a bit down, retrace. So the 12-hour has definitely here an 8. You know, an 8-9 is the buying cycle ended. Then the question is, will nothing happen? Will we get a new buying cycle or will we get a selling cycle? And here we went sideways. There's usually is a reaction, like here that 8 did have a small retrace, but then a new buy cycle began. So the 12-hour does seem very, very accurate on TD sequential at least. So if I look at this history, and we're already back to the beginning of this year, you don't want to ignore 12, 13, 8, 9 at the absolute top. So you really do not want to ignore this 8, 9 on the 12-hour. And at its best, it will just go sideways before getting into a new buying cycle, but we could also get a bit of a retrace or even a reversal on that. So do not ignore the 9s and the 8s for that matter anyway, especially not on higher time frames like that. The 12-hour is a bit of a tricky one. Oh, the 2-hour, sorry, 12, the 2-hour I meant. Could be in for a bit of a retrace, maybe double bottom at the 3700-ish. Could be definitely in the books. Higher time frames, 4-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour, 16-hour all. Even the daily is still pretty much in the buying cycle with a lot of space to move downwards, obviously. Like here, you need 1, 2, 3 candles back. 1, 2, 3. You could go down 3.6% without even breaking that count. And obviously with a wick further down. Quickly is flipping, but no, really, we had it 8, 9, and we're now going sideways. So on the weekly time frame, there is not a selling cycle active, and there's not a buying cycle really active at the moment. It's just sideways, 1, 1, 1, 1, maybe a 2 now. That could be invalidated with a bit more. And that on the TD sequential front, looking at trade time frame, the 1 hour, getting a bit of an anchor wave, but it's not confirmed yet. We could continue upwards, obviously. Trend momentum is flattening out already on a pretty low level. So that could mean we are getting some massive bearish divergence and trend momentum on the 1 hour. What would align with getting back to these levels here. Also, trend profit. We are hitting an harmonic, a bearish harmonic there. Trend profit is showing overbought zone. relative strength delta and trend momentum are up, but yeah, sorry, MFI was this, not trend momentum. Money flow, true money flow. Trend momentum is still okayish, but flattening out. There's a little volume in there. The volume on the pump was pretty decent. That was okay. So definitely not a fake out volume wise. But we could be in for a bit of a retrace. If you look at trend profit, what you are looking for, I'll just take a 4-hour time frame to give it a bit more clear. On the 4-hour, what you are looking for is you are looking for an oversold or overbought entry that's hooking up, that's exiting the oversold or overbought territory, and then you wait for relative strength delta to flip the zero line. So in this case, this candle would have been the entry point. If we quickly go back here, we saw a large oversold area, but relative strength delta just didn't flip until here. So this was the entry candle. You see a flip candle before the dump. Let's go to the next overbought one. Oversold, sorry, here we exiting oversold, and here this was your entry candle where the relative strength delta flipped positive, and it did go a bit choppy after it. It went 4% up, 6% down, 10% up, entry level, but it did pan out over a longer time, minus the 4-hour chart. Same here, we're exiting oversold, but we just didn't for very long. We just went sideways, so that was not the best example, but you cannot win them all. Overall, it has been a very decent combination of things, just as example. Back to the 1 hour. Okay, we got 4 minutes left in the Zoom. So waiting to see what happens if we go sideways or if we take a bit of a retrace. Most charts are looking, lower time frame are looking for a bit of retrace. Quickly looking at the hedges on the daily time scale. US oil fund still grinding its way up slowly and steadily. We had obviously some nice fake outs there. Still looks very good long term, very solid uptrend. There's nothing bearish at all on this chart. Gold miners, not the junior, the normal gold miners, taking a bit sideways, had some fake outs, but still holding its level very well. Let's not go into these. Junior miners, talking about long-term accumulation since October here. Bought up, trend reversed, it tested it, it got bought up instantly. Probably some profit taking at these levels, bought up, accumulation, higher, much higher low here, and then some last accumulation at these levels, it seems. Interesting is the trend line that we are getting some resistance from. Breaking 44K with a bit of volume and confirmation is definitely a great play. Silver, also some very strong accumulation over the last month. Also pretty much the same as That one did actually break the trend line, no matter how you draw it. It's now just going sideways, building some structure and potentially bounce. We do get some bearish divergence, but it seems to be being pushed up very nicely. 2 minutes remaining. And it's just the US dollar index, PAX gold, perpetual trading gold. Gold's also, and silver are just looking long-term very solid. Well, I made it within the 40 minutes. Like I said in the private VIP lounge, this was the last private MMA Zoom. I'll be switching to a live stream on YouTube and Switch publicly in order to get some more exposure to the world as marketing for this group. Market Hyper Trader will be added to VIP levels instead of only being separate. Working on some other things. The PSAR Gent simulator, it's a strategy version for PSAR Gent trading. All VIP levels, trend profit overlay that you've seen me use in the live streams. It's coming soon, all VIP levels. Started on trend profit trader version with the same functionality like Market Hyper Trader with an entry and confirmations. It will take a bit of time. Obviously, it's a beast to do. It will be VIP level 2 only. And also some backtest results of the trend profit overlay flags will be published soon for Bitcoin, gold, and Tesla on 2 time frames. Looking really promising. So that's it for today. Less than 1 minute left. Thanks for watching. Next week, public live stream, and I'll speak to you guys in the channels, obviously. Thanks and safe trading to all of you.